Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to speak about one of the Torah readings for this week, which is Parsha Netzavim, which teaches us many things, one of which is that it teaches us the lesson of unity and equality. And as we are approaching the holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we should understand that in the eyes of God, we are seen differently than we see ourselves. And it's a very important concept. So we have to guard ourselves against thinking that one person is more important than another, or one life better or more important than another. And that is demonstrated in this parsha, which we'll now talk about. The Torah reading begins, Atem Netzavim Hayom Kulchem, you are all standing before Hashem Elokeichem, your God. Then it goes on to say, you're the heads of your tribes, your elders, your officials, everybody in Israel, your children, your wives, the stranger within your midst, the wood chopper, the water drawer, everybody. And the Zohar, the Holy Zohar says that this is referring to how we should be as we go into Rosh Hashanah. The time that the world is judged. And he says the only way we can go into Rosh Hashanah is if we are united. We have to work on becoming united and working for unity between everybody. And he says, the Zohar says, a person, no matter how great he is, how many good deeds he has, how he may appear to us to be so great, nonetheless, if he's standing alone, he's not complete. Only together can we have completion. And therefore the Torah tells us, Atem Netzavim Hayom, that you are standing together today. Hayom meaning Rosh Hashanah. And the Shem Shmuel explains, and he says, what is the importance of standing together united? And he says very simply, he says if there's a war, when people are standing united in a war, you'll be victorious. But if you're separated into different camps in the war, different philosophies, different ideas, looking out for yourself rather than the whole, you will not be successful. And he says, the reason for this, he says, the victory comes because it says the name of Hashem, Hashem Nikra Aleinu, the name of Hashem will be upon us, Aleinu, upon us. And what it means is, in order to, it's like fulfilling a commandment. He says we have to fulfill the body of commandments, but any one individual cannot fulfill all the commandments because there are specific commandments for designated people. If you're a Kohen, if you're a Levi, you have a different commandment. It's only if we are together and what we do, then it's as if we fulfilled all of the commandments. And similarly on Rosh Hashanah, when we are together, then we have the ability to ask God to have mercy upon us together. And the Medrash Tanchuma says, where it says, Roshechem v'shivtechem, the heads of your people, heads of your tribes, and the tribes and people, etc. So even though the Torah is mentioning different classes, he says, Kulchem shavim lefonai. Everybody is equal before me. Shenemar, as it says, Kol ish Yisrael, every person of Yisrael. The Al-Shach, the 1500s, he says, Hashem knows, God knows who is great and who is not so great. And it may be totally different as we perceive ourselves. We may perceive ourselves and each other as, well, this person is a great person, this person is Nebuch Schlepper. We attribute different values to people. But Hashem knows, and Hashem looks at us as we are equal. So therefore, we come to an interesting halachic question. The sages talk about, and the halacha is, if somebody commands you to kill somebody else, you have to forfeit your life instead of killing another person. Because who are you to say that you are more important than the other person? Even if the head of a community, the greatest philanthropist in a community, the greatest leader is told, kill somebody else, kill this little beggar in the street, kill this homeless person, or you'll be killed. Same thing applies. The halacha requires that you be killed and not kill another, because nobody knows except God the true value of a human being. So therefore, we have to look to everybody with equality and try to have unity with everybody. There is an interesting halachic concept that Rav Moshe Feinstein gave many years ago. And in the beginning, when penicillin was first discovered, there were very limited doses. Not everybody could get it. So the question came to him, how do you decide? How do you decide which person is entitled to get this life-saving medicine? And he said, you have to give it to the person who comes before you first. You cannot judge and say this person's life is more important than somebody else, assuming that all the medical reasons are equal. You can't differentiate whether that's with penicillin way back then or whether it's now with transplants. We have to understand that we cannot decide that our life is better than anybody else, and therefore we have to treat everybody with respect. And we have to go into Rosh Hashanah, these holy days where we're going to be praying not only for the Jewish people, but for the entire world, because the entire world's decrees are decided on Rosh Hashanah. And we have to, in order to receive God's mercy, have to show that we can live a life of v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, as Rabbi Akiva said. You should love your neighbor as yourself, as the foundational principle of Judaism. And actually, it's the foundational principle of life, treating everybody with unity, with respect, as you would want to be treated. Only with that unity, only with that togetherness can we approach God on Rosh Hashanah. We have a long way to go to get there, but we still have another week before Rosh Hashanah starts this coming Friday, a week from tomorrow. We have another week to get it together and start treating each other respectfully and unite despite our differences. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat.